my name is Shash, and well, I'm I'm an immigrant from Sri Lanka, but now in the UK. And who am I and who he is, we'll get into it later. So,
Hello everyone. Yes, my name is Shu. That's my nickname, but my name is Panduka. I'm also an immigrant from Sri Lanka, and I met Shash after coming here. And that's a brief introduction about myself. So, Shash, do you want to
well,
take over
yeah,
and start?
so yeah, I guess so. Welcome to But For Real Though Unfiltered with Shash and Shu. So Panduka here, or Shu, came up with an idea to do a podcast. So, Shu, can I ask you why? Because I genuinely can't
Yeah, sure. I can bring up the a story. Anyway,
remember.
I've been very interested in doing something over social media, maybe a podcast. And I kind of tried also creating a few channels, recording certain things, daily things that I do. But however, after going through and listening to so many podcasts about certain things, I also had the idea of starting podcast. Then I was looking for another person to start with, like like-minded person who has the same sort of interest at the same time, different viewpoints. And along the life journey, I met Shash. So then we got to know each other, and I just brought up my idea with her, and she agreed to do it. That's how we started, and this is our first session. So I'm happy to be here with you.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. So I agreed, and I like the idea because so both of us were going through a tough time, with different problems, and something that we realized was that everybody over here, because we're both in the United Kingdom, and everybody here talk about different stuff. They talk about the visa process, and if we go on YouTube, we can find different channels focusing on how to get the visa process done, how to find jobs, how where the cheapest places to go out and eat, where to party, and all this stuff. But something that we realized was that there aren't enough places where we can we can we can go out and listen to about the mental struggles that we have, or just the stuff we go through, the emotional struggles that we go through when we are in another country. And especially from Sri Lanka, I know there are channels that focus on countries like India or Africa, or like, well, places from there, but then there aren't enough Sri Lankan channels or enough podcasts done by Sri Lankans where they focus on struggles that we go through being in a different country. And that because we needed help, and we found each other, thank God. But there might be people who are currently in other countries, or people who are in Sri Lanka who want to come to countries like these, or other countries, well, people from other countries who want to come to countries like the United Kingdom, the USA, Canada, New Zealand, or any other country like that. But most of us, we do not talk about the emotional stresses that we have and the emotional struggles we go through. Um, so I think I love the idea, and I think this would be the best place to start. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right, Shaj, and I agree with you. And I came to the UK a few months before you, and when I
Yeah.
moved into UK, I didn't have many friends, and already I had certain experiences with facing things alone, going through certain troubles alone, feeling lonely, uh, and then I started making friends, especially Sri Lankans as well as friends from the UK, from different countries, and the process got smooth, and I kind of get settled in the UK. However, life hits with different waves every now and then. Even though you are surrounded by a lot of people, sometimes you are the only person going through that difficult period, and not everyone understands the magnitude of the problem that you are going through. And at certain times, there were a few people like you who really helped me as a friend, especially listening to my concerns and giving me ideas, helping me to get through these emotional and also some physical struggles also.
Yeah.
Moving to different places, again, getting distant from the connections I built over the past 2 years. And
Yeah.
so I hear you well, and I absolutely uh, agree with you 100%. So today, I think you have a topic in your mind to talk about today. So I would love
I
for you to bring that up.
yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So remember, because this is very new to us. So remember when we were trying to brainstorm for ideas for what should be our first chat on our podcast, and we found the perfect point of departure, and it all happened when my friend over here broke a promise. True. So, what happened?
Oh, yes. Broken promises always hurt, and they hurt very deeply. And yeah, I wouldn't blame anyone. However, with the certain things happened in the past year, 2024, and I really wanted to disconnect from the neighborhood that I lived, and for a short period of time, not for so long. However, and I moved from London to Coventry, and then I thought it would be the perfect thing to do back then when I was in the middle of that emotional roller coaster, to get myself distant from that place, because I've heard this quote, you can't get healed in the same environment that made you sick.
Yeah.
However, after moving to Coventry, things got worse, and I felt like I'm all alone here without anyone. And yes, I was very lonely, and I was struggling to put myself back together. And really, I still don't know how I kind of spent those few weeks, few months alone here. And I have those feelings every now and then,
Yeah.
feeling lonely. And then I was regretting about the decision I made, and I left all the connections, friendships that I made while I was in London for 2 years. It was a
Yeah.
difficult period, and that's how we started getting connected in a deeper level, talking about things, problems. So I think everything happens for a reason, and it led us to be in the same spot and start something like this, talking about problems. So I have
Yeah.
experienced loneliness in an extreme level, I believe, and I of course I had to take some professional help also, which I'm
Yes.
now very proud of, and I did it
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. Yeah.
as a sometimes as traditional men in Sri Lanka, we are not supposed to talk about these challenges because we don't want other people to perceive us as weak men. That's what our culture is all about. But sometimes you really need help, otherwise you can't go through that period, and you break, and if you're broken and there's
Yeah.
no way to come back, so absolutely you need help sometimes. So my question to you is, have you ever felt have you ever been lonely, and how did you deal with it?
I have, sure. Again, I agree with what you say about our culture. And back in Sri Lanka, it's a bit, especially when we were growing up, we are millennials. So when we were growing up, it was sort of a taboo topic to talk about mental health, and it was just it's hard, and it's I know it's especially hard for men, and but it is generally hard as well for women or girls and children. It is. So when I talking about loneliness, when I was here, even though I had a lot of people around me, it it still was very, very lonely. It does not I realized that it does not matter that there are a lot of people around you. It does not matter the number of people who are around you if you do not find a proper connection, or because you're away from your parents, you're away from your siblings, you're away from the friends you made over years, and then you're away from places that you actually know. Like, for example, we always know that Cargill's is going to be there if we want something,
Yeah,
But then there are places we know where to we pay the light bill, we know where to go to pay the Mobitel bill, or you know these things. But in a country like this, we don't know any of it. We don't know, and we have to rely a lot on others, and that made me feel very, very lonely, especially because um, most of the time we there are instances where we feel unwelcomed in a country like this, and then there are instances where we have to just power through. We have to be like, no, we're going to do this, and we're going to, as long as our visa is, eh, visa is valid, we are going
legit.
to,
Yeah,
and yeah, we're going to make this work. And so it's back to back to back, and it's just when you feel like you don't have a support system around you, it's a bit difficult, and you can't really, like, you're my friend, but I can't always talk to you, because you have your own agenda. I can't always call you in the
rely
middle of
on.
work, and I know that you're working and you're trying to make through your day as well. So it's just I believe that loneliness I felt in my own country was different, but the loneliness I feel here is totally different. And I think that's something that people who are thinking of migrating should really consider. And I know it's hard to relate when you're in your own country and you're thinking of migrating. It's a bit different, and when you go through it, then it's a bit different. But the most recent loneliness was that shoe. Like, I felt that no matter how many people there are around you, and these people are really nice, but there's this sense of not belonging, you know
Yeah,
and and then you feel the guilt of having to put all that into one person. Like, I would feel very, very guilty to talk to you and tell all the problems I have. It's
yeah, yeah,
just,
yeah. I hear you well, and of course, I agree with you. And one thing I would like to highlight is, yes, uh, you might, even if you are surrounded by millions of people, and you
yeah,
might still feel lonely. You can be alone, but you may not feel lonely. But
yeah,
vice versa, you might not be alone, but you may feel lonely because
yeah.
it's something that comes within you. And when it's called a self concept, when
Mhm.
that is broken down and you don't appreciate who you have become, how you have changed,
Mm,
When that connection with yourself is broken, it doesn't
mm,
matter how many people are around you. And I think that's one of the major epidemics happening around the world, despite of all these social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
yeah,
the technological platforms. Loneliness has become a real concern. Though we have friends who could reach out to maybe within milliseconds on all these platforms, maybe our partners, but
yeah,
you feel lonely because people are struggling with their self-concept. And something I learned over the past few months going through some professional guidance, it's all about building that within you, how you observe and how you see yourself.
yeah,
And if you don't feel like you are not valued by the people around you, the best thing you should think about how your parents see you
mm,
and value you. Then it gives you that emotional spark that really helped me. And as we talked in the past, you also kind of highlighted this point. Doesn't matter how hard you feel right now, don't forget there are people that really look up to you and love you. So it really helped me, and it really made me understand, of course, I am not alone. There are people who really care about me, and I thank you for giving me that push when I really needed that.
oh, you're welcome. It's just I yeah, it's actually true because the loneliness I feel that as people, the two of us bring two types of loneliness into the discussion, because you are living in Coventry by yourself and I'm living in Bournemouth with my partner, but still I'm lonely. It's not his fault. It's not, and I'm pretty sure like you have your own friends, but it's not their fault that you're lonely, but we're
Yeah,
still lonely. And it's
yeah,
very hard to explain because you have these people around you, but you're still lonely. And I have my partner and I'm still lonely. And it's just and yeah, I told you this, that that there are people who love you and there are people who are going to give you a hug or like be there for you generally. Because my mother told me the same. Like my mother was like, if this is not working, always remember that you can always come back and that is an option. You
yeah.
can always, there's always this home away from home sort of thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. Agree. That's our real home, to be honest. And
well, yes,
yeah, yeah, we have all our roots there, and
yeah.
we are trying to expand our home. That's what we are doing. That's what we are trying to do.
Exactly.
To be honest, yeah.
Exactly.
Uh, Anything else that you
Uh,
would like to highlight on this topic?
I think it's time for us to do our special thing.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is that special thing?
So, okay. So, right, we thought of doing something exciting for ourselves in our podcast. And we call it Off the Cuff Conversations. And this is
Okay,
where I pick something, anything interesting, which I think, well, I would like Shu to talk about, and Shu would do the same. He will tell me something, and so it's a surprise, yay!
yeah.
And it
Is it
would be
something
quite,
rotational?
yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll
okay.
we'll do it. Well, we can do both. I can ask a question. I will. Well, you can answer, and you can answer a question, and I can answer.
Hmm.
And so, yeah. So you'll tell me something, and well, um, like I said, it's a surprise, and it could be quite random, and it could be very superficial. It doesn't have to be deep. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah,
Ready?
yeah. Oh, I know. Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
Okay, so yesterday night I sat down and I wrote some questions. Okay. This is something I found online, okay? I'm not well, it's not mine, but I found it online. I think it's an interesting question. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So, Shu, I know that you're going through this whole process of developing yourself, and so you're understanding your failures, you're understanding your wins, and you're going through this process. So, if you write a book about failure and it doesn't sell, is it called success?
Yeah.
I know you're good because you're a Toastmaster, and I know that you're good at table topics.
Yeah. Because personally, if I wrote a book about my failure and success story, I
Yeah,
wouldn't write it to make money. I would write it with the intention of sharing what I really experienced. So
yeah,
even if it's a success in terms of selling, maybe if it became one of the best-selling books in the world, I would be happy. Even if it didn't become that, I would be happy. I just wrote and I expressed my experience. That's what matters to me. So I would
oh yeah,
consider as a success.
it's just one book. I'm like, it's good.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think uh, you should, as you know, I have started writing certain things,
yeah,
certain phases of my life, migrating to different parts of the world for
yeah,
education, for work. So I'm not with the intention of publishing it, but I'm just writing them down as these memories come to my mind. Who knows if I'm going to publish it as a story? Let's
yeah,
see. Let's see. Life
yeah.
is all
Yeah.
about
That's
unknowns.
yeah, and that's a great way of coping with loneliness. It's
Yes.
great. Yeah,
And of course, it was your idea, and thank you very much for giving me that idea.
yeah. Okay. So that was my question. Do you have a question?
I didn't plan any question, but
Okay.
I I have this quote in my mind, and
Okay.
I would love you to explain how it relates to you.
Okay.
Yeah, the quote is everyone likes the view from the top, but no one likes the hike.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. You told me this before, I think.
Yes, yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it
Well,
relate to you?
quite literally, it relates so much because so I like hiking with my father. Okay. But however, I don't like hiking with my partner. It's just because it's he likes hikes. I go on hikes, but then I'm like, when I reach the top, it's like red spots everywhere. Like I can't see the view. But then,
Yeah.
I get into it and I see the view. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's worth it. But well, that's quite literally. But in a deeper level, I think it's true. And this is most related to, oh, I remember why we talked about this. It was about going to the gym, and I started going to the gym because Shu pushed me, like, because he's it's annoyingly good body. So I'm trying,
Thank you.
I can't get that body obviously, but I well, I'm I he inspired me, and he goes to the gym and he has this routine, and it's very, very good, and I want to be that sort of person, and I know it's good for my physical health on the long run, and I have complications, which is good. So I went to gym and I called you and I told you, "Ugh, why did I go to the gym? I hate you. I'm going to the gym. It hurts everywhere." But then you said this because obviously the view is it's good, and it looks great once I get in shape, or well, later. But yeah, the journey is the hard bit, and I totally agree. It is hard, and nobody wants to be in that hard part. It's just we all want that toned body, or we all want uh, that beautiful thing at the end. But y- well, you push me to believe that it's just you have to power through no matter what and don't give up and all these things. I totally agree with it. It's just it's really really hard to do, and uh, it's hard for me to do as a person, and I know that it's when it's hard to do as a person, the people who stick around that hard journey is very very little. Most
Mm.
people or your support system or your friends, uh, they tend to let go during this hard period,
Yeah,
and it's the people who stick around, they're the people who matter at the end of the day. And that's my point of view or my thoughts about that quote. I agree,
nice.
it's true. Yeah,
Nice, nice, nice. Glad to hear. And I'm glad that you're pushing yourself now. So
yeah,
keep going. And in my personal experience, it definitely helps you to keep
yeah,
moving forward, regardless of the circumstances. When you look good, you feel good. That's it. Baseline.
yeah, yeah. That's yeah, that's true. So I think we've come to the end of our time that we've allocated.
Located. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you can
It
go
was a
ahead and
good it was a good start for our new journey together. And
it,
we look forward to talk about many other topics, fun ones, as well as some deeper things also in future. And
yeah.
please stay tuned. And it's
Yay.
Shu, and
Shush.
speak to you soon. Have a good
Yes. So
day.
like, cement, light, comment,
Comment,
and
subscribe,
you said the other word,
subscribe,
subscribe, subscribe.
yeah, subscribe. And yeah,
Yeah. So see you
it was
later.
pleasure. See you, Shash.
Yeah. Bye, Shu.
Bye.